Ahoy! New World just released a dev blog about PvP, war and territory that I thought was really interesting. New World has a lot of issues at the moment and we'll dive deeper into them later, but I wanted to talk about this one first since I think this is something that a lot of people have been waiting for, me especially, but a lot of other people that felt like there was not enough incentive to PvP in the late game as well. Let's get into it. I'll add some comments in between on my personal thoughts. Hello adventurers and conquerors. Today I want to provide an update on the health, status and vision of PvP, war and the territory control metagame. Before we dive in, I want to apologize for all the issues we've seen in war so far, and thank you for your patience as we work to resolve them. I know there have been some serious lag issues in war and a number of exploits, including the invulnerability exploits, that have marred your experience. For this one, I gotta say, yes, that apology is absolutely needed. And also, what I don't understand, if they're so aware of these issues now, why are the companies abusing these bugs heavily not getting punished? So many territories have been taken by exploits. My company has experienced this multiple times. Why is nothing happening to the companies that are getting reported that are constantly abusing these exploits? I'm glad that they're working to fix this, but that shouldn't mean that everything that has happened so far should just be ignored. So I'd like to hear some more about that from them as well. We've made an initial set of changes to address some of the issues and are working on some higher impact changes that need more testing. It's a top priority for the team to get war to a stable performance state where the skill and coordination of the best team determines the outcome. Let's start by reiterating our high-level vision. We want to create a game where PvE and PvP not only coexist, but support each other. We also want wars, not gangs, meaning we want to support meaningful PvP in war and the open world conflict between three factions. This is going to be hard to do in my opinion because you have to have some level of instanced areas if you don't want these gang scenarios to happen frequently. Often one company simply outnumbers the other and that is what decides open world PvP, or one company stumbles across a lonely player or a small group. So I don't know how exactly they want to fully balance that, but let's get into their suggestions that they have so far. Open world PvP. We feel open world PvP is in an okay position but has room to improve. The rewards for flagging while leveling are good, the 10% XP bonus makes a difference, and the rewards for PvP kills are meaningful. Disagree they're always the brigand pieces that have durability, but hey, that's a minor thing. At the end game, however, the rewards for flagging are not good. There are two changes coming in the short term that should help. The first is that we're going to increase the luck of players while flagged. This one is absolutely massive in my opinion. I absolutely love this one because it can offset some of the gear farm that you need to do, some of the luck farm you need to do in return for being able to flag. And it can also mean that you have higher luck while you're wearing PvP gear instead of going full luck gear and then just flag in return. It depends on the exact value in terms of luck you're getting, but I really like this one because it's also an incentive for gatherers to flag. This should be an important and lasting benefit of flagging. Second, we are going to reduce the durability damage to gear while flagged. This will reduce the risk of flagging a bit, especially in endgame gear repair costs. I don't particularly mind that part too much because I don't think that repair costs in New World are particularly high. If you play a little bit of Outpost Rush, you get the gold back very quickly. Repair parts are very easy to come by through crafting or through farming some elite areas a little bit, but I guess that's not the case for everyone. In the medium term, we will also adjust the rewards for PvP kills at 60, so they can enhance players' high watermark more. Check our post on the high watermark to learn more. This one I think is particularly important and in my opinion one of the biggest things here because it gives PvP at level 60 a lot more value. I'm not sure why they make this a medium-term goal. I think this should be a priority because there would be much more of a reason to not only flag but also fight other players that are flagged if you see that you can get some more benefit out of it, if you know that you can get a higher gear score or a higher watermark out of it. What I'm thinking is that they may be delaying this particular part because they want to balance PvP a little bit more beforehand. Because as of now, most people won't even bother attacking life staff users, for example, because they know in 99% of all scenarios, the life staff user, unless completely terrible, will simply out-heal them forever and won't die and eventually they run out of health. So there are certain concerns when it comes to PvP balance that may take priority over the high watermark increase because then people will actually want to fight each other because there is more of an even ground between the different roles. Longer term, expect a new open world activity that flagged players can participate in that we hope spurs and rewards some smaller scale engagements across Eternum. So this may be something like forts again. This is not specific, or it's maybe a specific area, but something that gives you another way to get rewards from it, which I really like. In addition to rewards, we understand there are some gameplay issues with open world PvP. Currently it's hard to know whether players in your faction are flagged or not. This can make it difficult to know whether or not you have backup and assess whether you should engage or not. We are aware of this issue and are working on a fix. We also understand comeback tactics can be difficult since the visuals for all area of effect spells are the same, so it's difficult to know whether a spell is from an ally or enemy. Unfortunately, this is not a trivial fix, it will require a significant code update and numerous asset changes. While we agree that this is an issue, this will take substantial work and investigation and will not be resolved soon. That is very unfortunate to hear. It's good that they're at least aware of it, but it's very unfortunate that this will take a long time to be solved, because this is especially problematic, obviously, for healing abilities. If you don't know if that sacred ground next to you is your allies or your enemies, you may be stepping into it and just dying because you're not getting heal. So that is something that I wish they could do quicker, but at the same time, obviously I understand that there are technical limitations to that. It will take time to create new visual effects for an enemy version and then also code it in a way that is recognized as an enemy one. The next notes are on War. As stated above, the lag and exploits in War have hurt the experience. With the patch coming out this week, most of the major issues should be resolved. Well, let's see about that. There have been some complaints about War happening too often. There is a 24-hour cooldown between wars, and with the war windows, that means war happens at most every 2 days per territory. Players can also delay that through the influence race, which is now much more viable since we fixed the escalating influence issue. Overall, we think a war every 2 days is a good cadence, but please continue to let us know what you think. We're seeing war fatigue from factions which funnel a group of players into every war. While we love this cooperation, having one company or one company's worth of players on multiple territories should be very hard, and is not what we are balancing war cooldowns toward. Well, I have a fair bit to say on this one. First of all, why are shell companies allowed as a thing? At the moment you can have multiple companies with slightly different names that can hold multiple territories, and then you can set your war windows for different times, and then maybe you can complain about having too many wars, whatever, but it's very easy to defend that with your highest level players all the time, and that should really not be a thing, and I don't know why that's not mentioned here at all, because that is very odd. Likewise, the whole influence argument falls apart when you consider small companies versus large companies. In my opinion, somebody running multiple successive PvP mission runs should get a higher influence gain with each mission. At the same time, a large number of players running missions should see some diminishing returns if they only run 1 or 2 missions. That wouldn't be a perfect system, but as it stands, at least on my server, a lot of companies don't even try to do the influence race competition because they know that the other company has more members, and therefore there's not really much of a chance that they can hold them off long term. They can delay it by 1 or 2 hours, but not really make a significant difference. And again, this is also something that especially comes with the territory of having multiple companies with basically the same name. There's no hard restriction on having 100 members. On the topic of war fatigue, we already have a feature that allows us to set the time when wars can take place in a particular territory. What I think would be great would also allow companies to choose 1 day per week that they just can completely take off, on which they cannot be attacked and there can't be invasions. And you'd have to hardlock that, so you can't just randomly change it all the time to whatever you like, so you can always avoid wars, but rather you set it up beforehand, and that day none of those things happen in the first place. It's just a locked day once a week, so you have some guaranteed time off where you don't have to be online. That's just my idea how to make this a little less messy and stressful. But the devs also had more suggestions on war. We're also continuing to review balance within war. Defenders are winning more often than attackers, which is what we want. Currently defenders win around 80% of wars. We want to reward defending companies that build up their ranks and upgrade their forts. We will keep an eye on balance as we resolve the major exploits, make sure both sides have a fighting chance. Something that I find frustrating on the attacking side at the moment that I think could be solved better is the fact that you need to cap all 3 points, meaning effectively there will always be a moment in war where you will have to 50v50 Zerg unless you have a very elaborate strategy that works out very well where you can cap the last 2 points at the same time. You will end up with that big Zerg at the end, and that is something that I think could be solved better. Maybe add another point and you only have to cap 3 out of 4 or make it 2 out of 3 or something. I don't know how exactly to solve that, but something that would not drive the 50v50 as much and open up more room for strategy. But that's probably more of a long-term goal. Continuing with the article, we know that communication and coordination in war is not optimal at the moment. It's hard to know what roles participants in war have chosen, so it makes coordination difficult. We'll begin investigating ways of addressing these issues, but don't have anything planned in the near term. There's obviously a lot that they could do there, like for example having a role selection before the war, having a suggested group or something, also having company-wide or raid-wide comms, war-wide comms, so that the company leaders that are leading the war are able to just talk to everyone through voice chat. All that type of stuff could really improve things. But yeah, I'm not surprised that that will take a while to be resolved, because there's obviously a lot of things that go into that. And then they also have a part here about territory control. Overall, we are seeing territories change hands with decent regularity. As stated above, we want to favor the defender, and are seeing a good spread between factions on most servers. We do have 2 systems in place to help with faction balance. We allow players to switch factions, but don't allow them to switch into the dominant faction. We also increase the influence underdog factions earn for PvP missions to give them a better chance at earning the right to declare war, but we may need to do more. We're watching faction balance on all servers, and if it becomes a general problem, we have a few ideas to help resolve it in interesting ways. We're also aware that some territories, I'm looking at you Everfall, produce a ton of tax income, while other towns can be much harder to support and upgrade. There is a change coming soon that will help distribute a main tax income stream to every territory. We want to review the impact of this change before we make further changes, but there are some other changes we could make in medium term if this is insufficient. I'm honestly hoping that this is a general portion of the income being distributed across all regions, so basically like whatever, 25% of the trading post income just gets split, so there's still value in owning one of the bigger territories, but if you're in one of the other territories, you still get a portion at least that allows you to upgrade your town and get some income for being a territory owner. And a last bit of good news for all territory flippers out there, there are some new PvP mission types coming to the game soon. These changes serve 2 purposes. Adding some much needed variety to the PvP missions, absolutely necessary in my opinion, and helping to distribute the PvP action to multiple locations to spread out some of the large PvP zergs we're seeing. Please let us know what you think about these changes when they go live soon. I really hope that this includes some more PvP focused PvP content as well, because yeah, at the moment it's just zergs running up and down and doing the same missions over and over. Thank you for reading, and please feel free to post any follow-up questions, concerns you might have, and I'll try to address the top issues in a follow-up in the few days or weeks time. Zin. So, great update overall in my opinion. I'll also leave the link down below if you want to add any of your own comments. I think this is something that we can be excited about. I'm really hoping that these changes go through without all too many issues. So far, a lot of the changes we've seen came with a little bit of an aftermath. And yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to having more reasons to PvP at 60 and hopefully better wars as well. That's something that especially is close to my heart, that actually sees some improvement soon. And then after that, we'll have a look at how things develop, how things unfold, and what other issues need to be resolved. So I am happy about this post. I'm happy that they acknowledged a lot of the issues as well. And I'm hoping that they can put this into action sooner rather than later. Over the next days, I'll be talking about some of the other issues we're currently facing, some in-depth mechanics stuff when it comes to weapons and damage and all that stuff, and plenty of more to come. I am going to be a little bit more active in terms of content creation again after having been a bit too addicted to the game for a while now. So yeah, expect a lot of things soon. If you'd like to see that, feel free to hit the sub button and maybe the bell so you get notified as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one soon. SLOTH, out.